I am sorry this video is being uploaded late. I really wanted to do all of the videos and get caught up on Sunday, but unfortunately some things got in the way on Sunday and I wasn't able to do it. But luckily, since it's Monday, I have time to go through and catch up with all of the videos that need to be made. So without further ado, let me address what I wanted to talk about for this Underrated Film Saturday, and that is the film 50/50, starring Joseph Gordon-Levitt and Seth Rogen, being probably the main characters of this story. This is an interesting film because I think a lot of people usually don't think about this film too much. As far as even in an underrated category, I don't even think people really think about this film all too much either. I think usually people associate, in particular, I think Joseph Gordon-Levitt's film, in particular, the underrated one, they always say 500 Days of Summer. Now, I thought this one was actually a lot more interesting than 500 Days of Summer, and I actually felt that there was more of a distinction to the characters to where I could identify with them and also really kind of dive myself into the perspective of the emotions that one would associate with when it comes to, in particular, the subject matter of cancer. Because that's what this film talks about for the most part. What I think people mistook for this film, and I think probably a reason why it could be underrated, is the fact that it has comedy in it, and it has Seth Rogen in it. Oh, Seth Rogen, does he make a bunch of, you know, sex jokes? Yes, he does in this movie, but it's not of as low of taste, actually. I actually think Seth Rogen's character actually in this movie, although he is playing the typical character that you see Seth Rogen playing, I felt like at certain points he was fairly intelligent and he was actually making legitimate points to his friend, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, who is really actually the main character of this story. But basically, the story revolves around Joseph Gordon-Levitt's character, Adam, having cancer. And it's given away right in the beginning of the film, so that's really not spoiling anything. Especially when you look at the synopsis too, and pretty much all the advertising, at least that I saw for this film, it pretty much was like, yeah, you have cancer, but we can still have fun, right, and laugh. So that's at least what I thought, and I think that some people might have been rubbed the wrong way. They might have thought, oh, how can this really work? But it actually, I think, does fairly well. I would actually say this is the Joseph Gordon-Levitt film that I enjoyed a lot more, I guess you could say, than 500 Days of Summer. And I was thinking, and I thought too, it was kind of the film that, I kind of felt like 500 Days of Summer should have been. So basically, not only do they start right out of the gate with it being revealed to him that he has cancer, and it's actually a really rare cancer too, so they even laugh at the fact that how it's so difficult to pronounce, and I'm not even going to attempt to try to pronounce it here. But basically, really what this film tries to do is it tries to set up the sort of it tries to set up the discovery of the cancer, which is set up really well, I think, within the film, with Joseph Gordon-Levitt's character, and then sort of the just dealing with it, like telling the parents, telling the people that you love that you know, you may not be here. And they do emphasize within the film that it is fairly, it is very life-threatening. And then the chances of survival are the title of the film, 50-50. 50% chance you live, 50% chance you don't. And really, I think what this film does a good job of is it tries to show you the kind of sort of life struggle that you have when you discover that you have something like this. And especially someone that is of Joseph Gordon-Levitt's age, like they emphasize too that he's only like 27. So basically his life is turned completely upside down. Seth Rogen provides, I think, a good amount of encouragement, which is, you know, something that usually, you know, does it sometimes his kind of, you know, kind of dumb best friend persona kind of come out. Yeah, there are certain points where I felt like Seth Rogen's character, I think his name's Kyle, where you know, just, you know, he kind of goes on that, he kind of treads that line a little bit sometimes. But I think overall as a character, he is rather encouraging to Adam. And it's really difficult though too, because it really highlights too how it's very hard for you to identify with everybody else around you because you're suddenly different now, because you have cancer, because you're not in that same loop as everybody else is, and you can't experience things in the same way that other people can. And I think that's very isolating, and that's really what Adam as a character goes through. He goes through that stage of feeling like he can't reach out to anybody, and it really does try to emphasize within the film how it is important to reach out to people and to not, you know, feel like, you know, you're somehow alone because you have something like this. So I think this film did a really good job of showcasing that. And you sort of see too his personal struggles, and you know how you know, sometimes he's not the best at making, Adam in particular is not the best at making certain decisions. But what I do really like about this film too is I do like how he eventually sort of stands up for himself, and he sort of tries to come out of the shadows, and he kind of, you know, just ends up trying to to be strong, even when at points he kind of has sometimes these breakdowns. But it's really one of those films that I think really it has this there's moments where you'll be like very sad, and you know, you'll feel you feel so sorry, and then at some points, you know, you feel uplifted. So I think it really provides a good blend of these different kinds of emotions. But for the most part, it's actually rather serious. I mean, it does have comedy in it, but it's almost, I think, fairly downplayed. I think the drama is actually more prevalent within this film than really the laughs. And even if they are laughs, they're usually coming from Seth Rogen, being his Seth Rogen-y self, but at the same time being at least, I think, a little bit more likable and less annoying than some of his other characters that he's played within the past. So yeah, I think that's definitely something that's unique about this film, and I like how they treat it with a certain sense of seriousness, but at the same time with a certain amount of heart. And I think that's what ultimately makes this film work. Um, and I'm not going to give away as far as Seth Rogen, or excuse me, Joseph Gordon-Levitt's condition. I would rather have you sort of be taken on this journey that he goes on, um, without really knowing where it ends up going. So all you really need to know going within the film is he discovers he has cancer, and this is how he deals with it. And you see sort of the highs and the lows of going through something like this. Yeah, that's really ultimately everything that needs to, I think, really be said about this film. I do like the fact that he does have these other side characters that he bounces off of, and they sort of play a significant role within the film. And I think really its overall presentation is well done. Is it a masterpiece by any stretch of the imagination? No. But at the same time, I still think it really deserves, I think, the kind of recognition of a cancer film that usually is, again, a subject matter we don't even address. But I think as far as a cancer film goes, I was actually, this was one of the more impressive ones that I've seen. But yeah, I think that's really ultimately all I can say. If there are any questions, comments, concerns, I'd be more than happy to answer them. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you all have a pleasant day, week, month, and year. And I hope to see you on the next video. Take care.